Hello everyone, welcome at our regular DevSync. We'll share updates from the Subspace Labs team from the last week and updates for the nearest future. And today the first one will be Ivan.
Yeah, sure. So last week we finally merged the PR, which was related to the adding the opportunity of reading like pieces and indexes and supplying that to the DSN, so that we could integrate the DSN, which is Ramil working on like in future, easier. So apart from that, I was mostly working on the OpenCL encoder like integration into the Subspace monorepo. So there were a bunch of PRs with that. So I basically like removed the CUDA feature at all from the sloth library. Also, there was a minor PR which I remember, which was related to the like fixing some of the issues related to the encoder, like mostly like some Rust contracts and that kind of things. Apart from that, yeah, there was a PR with the merge of both changes into the Subspace yeah, Subspace monorepo. Sorry. Yeah, it is mostly merged. Yeah, there are still some issues as I see in CI right now. Yeah, we'll fix that today and hope we will merge it. Yeah. Apart from that, I was working on the adding the offline geographic discovery for the substrate telemetry. Yeah, VPR is already opened, but yeah, still waiting for the review from the party guys. Yeah, apart from that, I was working on the party DB. Yeah, still work in progress. Working on the adding new feature to that. There is a B3 database there, and basically there is an option like to use iterators there, and we need some feature like going backwards with that iterator. So working on that. There was a reply from the party guys. They have no offense to adding that feature to the library, which is cool. So working on that. Yeah, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Ivan. Any questions from the team? All right, Shamil, you're next.
Sure. Last week I worked on the P2P patch for our use case for Kademlia. I managed to create one. I tested it locally and it works for our use case. There is an issue. I will share it later during the coursing session. So the P2P branch and the PR is ready for Nazar to review. And I need some more tasks to do. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, comments about that from anyone? The PR is big, but I'm optimistic we can merge it this week. Okay, Ozgan, what's on your side?
Okay, so last week we had to update monorepo dependencies and release 2 or 3 other versions. So it was mostly updating the code base. We spent a lot of time on debugging the node restart bug. So it was basically when we tried to edit the node name, it was supposed to stop the node and restart it. Although we followed the guideline and the best practice from Substrate, it didn't work. And as we suspected, probably it is related to Substrate. So me and Ivan tried to debug it. We couldn't figure out the exact reason. Then I handed it to Nazar, and Nazar debugged it, and he just opened an issue on the upstream, I believe today or yesterday. I think today. Other than that, I started on working on the compatibility with other drives so that our users can select other drives for plotting on Subspace desktop. There was an incorrect bug report about show logs button was not working in Ubuntu. I tried that, was not able to reproduce. Again, I asked from Ivan to test it because he also has access to Linux. He also was not able to reproduce it. I think it was a fault report. Yeah, that's all for the next days, and rest of the week I will try to focus on the external drive support for the Subspace desktop.
I saw that the report was from Wei. I think you can ask him if he was using a custom drive or something. There must be something going on if he's observing an error. So maybe like collect more logs or something. Because if there is a problem, some other users will definitely face it sooner or later. So
Okay,
just
you
make sure to
mean
double check.
for show logs?
Yeah.
Okay, I will contact.
Yeah, Özkan, is there a bug with the external drive support, or do we not have that supported yet?
We did not have that support yet, so it's not a bug. It's just a non-implemented feature.
Okay, so we can just support drives that are.
You can
internal.
select that it doesn't update the space on that drive. So you cannot, if you have like system drive with 100 gigabytes and 1 terabyte external, you cannot select 1
Okay.
terabyte on external. It just doesn't show.
Got it. So this is still just single drive, not multiple drive support.
Sure.
True.
Got it. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Ozgan. Ducheng.
Okay, sure. So last week, I firstly finalized the PR. I mean, to completely verify the photo proof on the client side. I also fixed a runtime API compatibility problem caused by a recently added new API in that PR. Another PR is to add a new palette, which can be used to take the runtime configs for multiple network because of the upcoming executive-specific testnet. Now, I think the only missing piece for launching the executive network is the chain spec. We need to decide the final name, and then the necessary code changes will be ready. I also spent some time trying to reproduce a few like flaky executive tests on Windows, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to reproduce it locally. We'll keep an eye on it and try later. For this week, once the final executive testnet chain spec is done, I think we can launch it. Apart from that, I think we'll have a few meetings and we'll see after those meetings. Yeah, those are my updates.
Yeah, one of the 2 errors on Windows I actually saw today on macOS. So there is still definitely something somewhere that should happen. Just need to find a way to reproduce it.
Just not like I never reproduced them locally, so it's hard for me.
For the chain spec, you said you just need a name for the network. That's the last thing.
Yeah, I just think a few names because I think we'll take the consideration of like PR or the marketing because we'll make a few announcements later. I believe even not big.
There won't really. I don't know if there will be like announcements, so to speak. It'll probably be a little bit more low key, honestly. We're not going to announce anything until we merge it into Gemini, like in terms of a really big announcement. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Just call it XNet, like XNet 1, like same naming convention we have right now, like 1A, 1B, 1C, and then the like snapshot date. I think that's the way we're doing it for Gemini. Is that right, Nazar?
I'm not sure we will do separate snapshots for XNet. It will be confusing for users. But I think XNet for chain spec is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you're blocked on?
Nope.
The chain?
Nope. That's the final code changes necessary for the executive network.
Okay, since we had that new palette added, maybe you can also bump the runtime version. Don't remember if you added it to the runtime. If you did, then please bump the version.
I believe you have bumped the version to 2.
I did,
right?
but we also released it already. So if you have a new thing, we need to bump it again.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Serge, you're next.
Yeah, I was working on Subspace desktop. So one issue I was working is voting rewards integration and rewards in general. So we had some discussions with Jeremiah regarding new mockup for dashboard that will show all the rewards, and it's still in progress. Once I have approval, I can basically finish the implementation. And another issue was, so during plotting, we were showing sometimes on few occasions, we can show like NaN, not a number. So long story short, we are not handling some of the errors that are that may happen during plotting in the application. And yeah, Ozgun already created an issue about like error handling in general. So this is something we need to also have a discussion on application sync. And also I was doing some research about like state management for the UI. We already have like some technical debt. We have like a global state. We have like local state for different pages, and sometimes they overlap each other. So yeah, we can also discuss my suggestions on the application sync. And also there was a relatively minor UI issue fixed. So when we set up a plot, and if we move slider, it updates the chart as expected. But if we type in the input field, it doesn't reflect changes. So this is this was fixed and already merged. That's all.
Okay, Serge, you just need me to look at the latest mockup that you did and approve that, right? For the final screen. Okay,
Yes.
I'll get that today. Regarding the state management, can you do something similar and try to put together a plan or a specification of what you want to do there?
Okay, I can try.
Yeah. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, great. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Serge. Ved, you're next.
Hey everyone. Last week, again, mostly on the infrastructure, helping Nazar bring up some more nodes for the Gemini 1B. Also was spending some time with Alexei to get him up to speed on the infrastate that we have on the Gemini 1B, took him through the infrastructure that we had so far. And the majority of the time was looking at the current state of bridges, specifically Snowfork, the bridger that from Darwinia, and also the Lightline paper. We have a bunch of discussions this week around that, as well as the messaging and domain. Hopefully we get some technical specifications coming out of that, post the discussions as well. That is most likely my main focus, and supporting Nazar on infrastructure until Alexei get up to speed, if there is any.
Okay. Any questions, comments? Everyone seems to be quiet. Okay. I think we forgot to invite Alexei, so I'll give update for him. We had a few calls with him last week about infrastructure and where we're going. And I think the first priority will be to set up the cloud for our state management for Terraform, so we can actually use that across the team without sending the file in up-to-date state around, and we don't have to manage something like S3 bucket for the team. We can just have that in one place, somewhat centralized. And then he'll work on the workers for our CI in GitHub. So we'll have faster builds. We'll have more things to be done in those builds. So we can do something like optimize the R64 builds. We can have more macOS builders. All good stuff for the workflow that we have right now. And after that, we'll proceed with other improvements on the infrastructure side, but those will be two immediate priorities for him. On my side, I was primarily maintaining the Gemini 1B. There are many small and big problems with it. Some big ones of note. There was a problem with the equivocation check. After we fixed the signatures, we didn't update some of the signature verification in the equivocation handlers. So there was actually equivocation happening, but it was failing to equivocate the farmer. That was fixed, I believe, shortly after we enabled rewards. So some of them were able to produce some of the blocks and get rewards, but then they were banned. That was one problem. There was a problem before that where the author of the block that is malicious was able to produce 2 votes and equivocate the user. So we fixed that. And then there was a few problems with recommitments and just performance on the farmer side. There was like a memory usage that was fixed. Yeah, generally it seems to be quite good. We've had a bunch of nodes started for the community. And I guess the last thing I was working on the article for the WASM conference. They have like series of articles after those talks published on their Medium. So that one is already live since yesterday. Yeah, this week I'm planning to do more improvements, pushing some stuff in the upstream. There were some documentation changes. There are final reviews coming for the networking and RocksDB and some other things. So yeah, we'll be pushing that forward. Any questions for me from the team?
No, I just wanted to say great work, everybody. Nizar, I know you were working all weekend fixing these bugs, supporting these issues. It's a huge deal to get rewards live on Gemini. So I appreciate everybody who was helping out this weekend. And I know everybody was working very hard last week as well. So thank you guys for all the hard work. Please keep it up.
Absolutely. Okay. I see Justin is not joining us, unfortunately. So we'll wrap it up. And we'll see you guys on YouTube next week, same time, same place.